Welcome to Law and Order BUX. I'm your host, Bucks County Sheriff Fred Harran. Every corner of Bucks County has a story to tell. Sometimes a story of resilience. Sometimes a story that chills us to the bone. Sometimes a story of government not being able to get out of its own way. Here, the forces of law and order are constantly at work, often behind the scenes. Join us as we delve into the gripping realities of crime and justice in our community. We'll explore the hidden worlds, the difficult decisions, and the unwavering commitment it takes to maintain law and order right here in Bucks County. Hello and welcome to episode 14. That's right, 1-4 of Law and Order BUX, BUX, and I'm your host, Sheriff Fred Harran. I'm going to just start off today with all rise. We have a judge on our podcast. We have Judge, Your Honor, Matthew Weintraub, Bucks County Court of Common Pleas. And what a pleasure for me in so many ways. First of all, I know Judge Weintraub for a very long time. We're going to get into that. I'm sad that he left the district attorney's office. We got to do a lot of fun things, and now he's up there, as we say, on the sixth floor or seventh floor?
Sixth floor.
Sixth floor. I don't know why I always get him confused sometimes. Sixth floor. Oh, God's on the seventh floor. You guys are just right underneath. So he's on the sixth floor, and I got to watch myself today, folks. We got a judge on, so I got to be this is the real deal. It doesn't get any more realer than this today, but I'm so excited. And Judge is going to take us back, I guess, a little bit. It's going to be a casual conversation, Your Honor. Take us back to law school days and how he got here, and then we're going to have a little fun. The judge and I, we got to push out some new philosophy in policing, if you will. And Judge, I know we got it. So, you know me, sometimes I forget where my lane is. So please, we're going to a topic we can't go. And I know there's a lot of things we can't talk about because of your position. So I just want to make sure I stay very carefully and do the speed limit in my lane, Your Honor. So
that sounds good. I'll enforce.
And I know you have no problem enforcing that, Your Honor. So not one problem at all. You have no problem kicking me back into my lane. So
in fact, other people make sure I do it to you.
Still, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give that lunatic a call? But Judge, I think that a lot of people. I mean, really, all kidding aside, I mean, what a great job, the things that you get to do, and I know we can't go into specifics, but just really making a huge difference in the criminal justice world, in the domestic world. Just the difference that you make and the peace that you bring to a lot of folks. Hopefully, maybe not everybody feels that way, but I know the job you do, and I was so glad when you became judge. But take us back to law school days, or maybe if you want to take us back before that, that's great too. There's probably a lot of young viewers, and we have actually. I know you joke with me. We only have 3 viewers. We have a lot more than 3, Judge.
Will we be viewed by literally dozens today, or how many?
We are in the hundreds. We're in the hundreds.
Right. Nice.
We are in the hundreds. So we are in the hundreds. I'm hoping to get into the thousands, but we are in the hundreds right now, which I'm very pleased with. So, Judge, take us back.
It's funny. I could start off with an anecdote. The other day I was in court, and an attorney from domestic relations was in front of me, and she had this paperback book, and I looked carefully and see I got to wear glasses now, and I said, "What is that?" She says, "This is from your first year of law school. This is a picture book where you all stood for pictures." I said, "Oh my gosh, I don't know whether to be embarrassed or what." So she let me look at it, because I graduated with her husband from law school, and I of course flipped right over to my page. I barely recognized myself, but what a nostalgic trip down memory lane it was. That was in 1990. and I was a first year in Temple Law. I had just graduated Ursinus the year before. And I have to tell you, I looked like a kid. And then I did the math that being 35 years ago, I was 21 when I started law school. And I will now admit, I don't think I really was prepared. It was a rude awakening. Law school was real difficult. I made some great friends, some lifelong friends. And I went to Temple, and it was very, very challenging. There was a lot of very bright people there, and the professors were great. I can't say that I enjoyed it, but I learned an awful lot. And so when young people come to talk to me now about law school, I have some real lessons to impart to them. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's difficult for a reason. There's a weeding out process. And I didn't finish even near the top of my class, but I was able, through just some grit, to finish in the top half of my class. But through perseverance and slow and steady is the climb. I graduated in '93, became an assistant DA in my home county of BUX County, where I grew up. And I never really looked back. It was sort of like a wheel. Went from BUX County, a very, very, very brief stint in private practice for 3 months, to learn that I didn't like it at all. I went to Lehigh County, Allentown, very tough town. Learned a lot more as a prosecutor, then down to Cape May County with my family for a few years, until Dave Heckler called me back to BUX County in January of 2011. I can't believe how long ago that was now. And I've been back ever since. And I recall you, Fred, in my first iteration as a regular patrol guy, a community policing guy. But by the time I got back, you had climbed the ranks and were the public safety director at Ben Salem. So I knew pretty early on that you were doing some real cool, creative, thoughtful, community-oriented, and progressive things with policing. And so I said, I want to hitch my wagon to this guy's star. And I think that was when we forged a friendship, because I saw some great leadership qualities in you that I wanted to emulate. I love the progressiveness. I love the thoughtfulness, the willingness to step outside the box, the willingness to, that if you make a mistake, you got to admit it and sometimes start over or rechart your course. And I took a lot of those lessons with me, even to when I became the DA and to where I am today.
Wow. No, well, now here we are in 2025, Your Honor, and you're on the 6th floor and I'm on level B2. So I'm not sure hitching to this star. You went up and I'm 2 floors below the ground level. Matter of fact, if I looked, I'm the only one with a little bit of window in my office.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even tell if it's pouring rain out there. People are like, it's raining. I'm like, it's always dark where I am.
I'd be embarrassed to show you my view. It's beautiful where I'm sitting.
Well, you are, 1 floor below God. So you are on the 6th floor. So, you always tell that, Your Honor, that, and I appreciate it when you tell that story about, hitching your wagon. But, so I'm sitting here listening, and I guess I must have been off by a year, because I thought we got back together like in 2010. But if you got here in 2011, so it was not that long after that, maybe a couple of years. So in 2010, we were already doing DNA stuff in Ben Salem. And then I remember Dave Heckler had an opponent that was, Chris Aspen. And he was really big in the DNA world. And I know Dave basically assigned you as like our liaison, as learn everything, what the heck is Harran doing down in Ben Salem? Make sure you find out what the heck's going on. And that's when we really forged that relationship. And I guess we're going there early with this story, but we got to go there, Judge. I'm sorry. I still use this story 15 years later or 14 years later. I'll never forget. We were, at no cost to the taxpayers, just so people know, we went down to Palm Bay. It was by Cocoa Beach, right? The Space Coast for there were four police departments that were the first in the nation, 4 in Florida, doing this DNA stuff that, now Bucks County has become worldwide famous for, and much of it under, because Dave Heckler let you run with it, under your leadership, and then soon to be district attorney shortly after that. But I'll never forget that night. We didn't really know a lot of people there, and I think it was me, you, Bill McVeigh, and I think Dave Richardson.
And Glenn Vanderbilt.
And Glenn Vanderbilt. God rest Dave's soul. Great. Dave Richardson was a deputy director in Bensalem for a while back after I had left, and Dave had passed away from pancreatic cancer. Just a great officer, a great commander, and just a great human being. And he's got great kids, and his wife, still active. I see her at a lot of events in Bensalem. But I'll never forget that night. They all kind of knew each other in Florida. Judge, can you walk us through that night, Your Honor?
All right. Now, this is I have to tell the story with a grain of salt, because I don't want people to think we're bragging. That's not what this was. And I can explain. So we walk in, and we're invited to a barbecue, and at a barbecue joint. And I don't even really know these guys. I'm here with Fred and Dave and Bill and Glenn, and these guys are cops, and I'm a lawyer. So there's this natural distrust, I guess. But we were hitting it off pretty
That's
well.
not right, Judge.
No, you're right. You're right. I overstated that. But so we get to the place, and it's already filled. And as you said, everybody already knows each other. And I don't know why, but we made a later entrance, and we're trying to scout out a table. And it's sort of like you walk into the cafeteria, and all the kids are saying, "This seat's taken, this seat's taken." We're lucky we didn't get tripped and spill our milk on the floor. So I see a table in the front where nobody's sitting. And we're like, look, we got to go sit where there's an opening for at least 5 of us. So we go make our way to the front. And I think it was Fred, you, or some of the other guys are saying, probably was Fred. And it'll become clear in a minute. And he says, well, we're going to be sitting by ourselves. I said, nah, don't worry about it. What do you mean? He says. I said, watch, this will be the cool kids table by the end of the night. And Fred, I guess, had no experience with the cool kids table. He didn't know what I meant. But we went, and we sat there, and we just started being ourselves. And by the end of the night, it was like people were sitting all around us, and it was almost like from a movie. We were telling tales and singing songs and having just a wonderful time. We had met everybody there, and I can attribute it to the fact that the people that I was with, these guys, Fred and Bill and Dave and Glenn, were just so charismatic, and everybody, they had a gravity to them. And people really, really wanted to be with them, because the leadership and the fun was evident from the start. And that's what attracted me to those guys too. So anytime from then on, which I guess is going on 15 years, Fred and I would look for a seat, and we'd say, "Where'd you sit?" And you can take it from here.
At the cool kids table. So from that moment on, and just for the record, people know that I grew up in New York City. I went to a public high school. There's many days I sat, Your Honor, at the cool kids table, and I can come up to your chambers later, put my hand on the Bible, and you could swear me in on that one, Judge. But to your point, that's a great story. Because we were just having a good time, and 2 people came over and 4 people, and before you know it, everybody was grabbing chairs and pulling up, and we were having a good time. And many of those people, I still am in touch with today. The chief and Nellie, the detective who was in West Melbourne, she's now a supervisor with ATF down south somewhere, I think in Nashville. I talk to her every now and then. Some of these folks we still see. Although, Florida, those 4 towns aren't as involved as they were, but they're still doing a lot of good work. But that was great. And, so a lot of things happened that night that I don't think people in Bucks County could appreciate or realize. One is, not that anybody else cares, but I think a great friendship was born with all of us that night. But also, it was the beginning of really doing some dynamic work in law enforcement that has really made a difference. And you came back, and I remember you talking to Dave Heckler about it, and we needed you really, as I speak today around the world on this issue. You need the district attorney's blessing. You can't do it without the DA's approval, or it just doesn't work. And you did. You sold it to Dave Heckler, and it was the rest is history, as they say. Now we have every police department in Bucks County, and Pennsylvania has become the state in America that this is really being very progressive in. And I don't mean for our viewers that when I use the word, I've said this 100 times, when I use the word progressive, not what Washington has done to the word progressive, but I think progressive is a good thing in policing, being progressive and looking for outside the box, as the judge had said, approaches, because you always got to be on top of everything every day to find new ways. And you were instrumental in that. I remember, a judge just shut me down if I'm not allowed to talk about this, but you always made sure our consent form, you changed it, keeping in accordance with the law to make sure that everything was above board and every possible out for the defendant was there. And even we just recently had a change by District Attorney Jen Shorn because of the sheriff's involvement. The people that I come in contact with are a little different than street cops. So the district attorney just changed it again. So it's been through a lot of changes, that form, over 15 years. And you've been great with it. But the Cool Kids table that's my favorite. That's my top favorite stories of my lifetime. You have another favorite story is coming up, Judge. You know which one that is. I don't have to tell you.
Well, hold on. Well, I got an editorial out, but I'll let you tell your stories, of course. But so the thing about the Cool Kids table, because I don't want people to think that you and I are a couple of jerks. I mean, they might, but I don't want it to be for this. So what I always meant by that is if you're welcoming, if you're there having a good time, if you're laughing at yourselves, if there's natural charisma, but everybody's is inclusive. That's what I mean by that. And it was very obvious very early that that's something that we had in common. That's something that I had in common with a lot of your leadership, the ability to laugh at ourselves, to be thoughtful, to be inclusive, to be creative. And to touch on your points about the DNA, this was really uncharted waters. And I think that there's the instinct in law enforcement certainly is to maintain the status quo. This is what we've always done, and we don't care. We don't want to change. But to give you credit, Fred, you've always been very thoughtful about what can I do better and what is the cutting edge here? Where can we go to the cutting edge? And if we're told we can't do something, or if we're told we need to improve a consent form, to use your example, that's what we're going to do. And I can't endorse the consent form now because I might have to judge it. Right. But I do remember going through that process. It was trial and error for sure. It did cost money, although I will give you a lot of credit. You got a lot of stuff for free for agreeing to be the test case in many instances. And one of the things that I was most proud of for the way we conceived our DNA program at its infancy was we touted it for its ability to exonerate people. It's not just a tool that you put on one side of the scale. You put this tool on both sides of the scale. You want to get things right. And if that means you can use somebody's DNA to clear them of being accused of a crime, we want to do that all day long. And certainly if we can use it to identify, unfortunately, victims' remains, or to help us in investigations, that was all three of those things were part of our overarching goal. So we had to do a lot of convincing, a lot of hard work. And I think it was through sheer force of will that you got that done. The program wouldn't be where it is today without your vision and your efforts, certainly.
Thank you, Judge. And, the DA's office is always and still is instrumental in that program. Sitting here listening to you, I'm thinking about bringing on a guy named James Tillman. He was the first Connecticut exoneree African-American gentleman who got locked up for sexual assault, spent 18 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. I've had dinner with him. I've done presentations with him. I've been in Washington with this guy. He is an amazing man in Connecticut. So I'm thinking about bringing him on. So that just reminded me. And I want to get off of DNA because I know, and we're running. God, time is going on these things. So
it
all
is.
the time.
It is. Maybe this will just be part one. Who knows?
Oh, Judge, I'd love to have you back as many times, but then there's the old Q-tip story that I know. I don't like a press conference too often. I hate talking in front of the media. There's only one person in the world I know that hates it more than me, and that's you, Your Honor. Not anymore though. So I guess you could tell the short version of the story. We were at a press conference together I think it was about DNA, obviously, and I think we were in Ben Salem, and you always, the DA is the DA, so you gotta give the time to the district attorney. But I always had a tendency sometimes of trying to get the last word in. I can't help it, but not anymore. Not since you're a judge, I can't do that. But so you got back up to the podium and you said, "What, Your Honor?"
This was about the DNA, and I said that the newest tool or in the police's toolbox is not a gun. It's not a taser. It's not even a weapon. It's a Q-tip. and you were blown away by that, I think.
Well, because there was no topping that at a minute, at really a minute's notice. You did that, and there was no way for me to say anything. But you normally do get the last word, so it's okay. Again, but what great times. Judge, can you maybe just tell for our viewers, here in Pennsylvania, we have district courts. Can you maybe just go into a little bit about the difference in the courts? And can you talk about what gets heard at a district court and what gets heard at the common pleas court?
Yeah, sure. First, let me just say it's not my area of expertise, but to my understanding, and I'll keep it super simple, I view district court as the people's court. It's the court of essentially first resort. So if people have a very low level civil dispute up to a certain, it might even be, I don't want to say that the dollar value, but lower than, you go to the district court, and there's district courts in just about every community. I think we have 18 of them in Bucks County. Certainly if you get a traffic ticket or you're cited by a township, that's the first court that you would appear in. Similarly, if a person is charged by a crime, the case has to go through district court. It has to pass muster in front of a district judge before it can be sent up to the Court of Common Pleas, where I sit, to be heard by a judge of Court of Common Pleas. The district court judges, they can do weddings, they can officiate at public events, they can swear officers in.
Right.
And here's something that not a lot of people know: to be a district court judge, you do not have to be a lawyer. Many of them are lawyers. I don't even know if it's the majority. It's supposed to be an office that's designed to be really accessible to the people in the community and where they live. So the district judge has to be from that community. Like I said, there's 18 of them in Bucks County, so they're pretty close by to where people live and work and go to school. And I think it's a great design. And then naturally things funnel up to us as the issues get more serious, or if they pass muster down at the district level first.
No, that's a great it's a great explanation. And we're up here, obviously we're in the same building as you, and then we move around a lot of the prisoners, and yesterday was very busy here. Today not as many, and that just fluctuates day to day for whatever reason because of scheduling. But it's great having you here. What do you miss, if you can say, about, or maybe there's nothing, I don't think that's true, but what do you miss about the district attorney's office?
I got to be gracious and say first, I'm really enjoying my job, the new challenge. But the things that I miss the most are just being responsible for protecting everybody. And I know that sounds, it's like a romanticized version, or it sounds a little trite, but I really relished waking up every day and thinking to myself, how am I going to keep people safe today? And having a battle plan or a concept. It was always exciting to me to do that. And the other thing I refer to is the juice, the action. Sadly, the district attorney doesn't get engaged in usually in something until they're reacting to something horrible happening. But we, when I was the DA, were able to really be proactive in a lot of ways to try to protect our community. The two ways that I'm most proud of was that when I was the DA, I was insistent on universal Narcan. And that's something now that's like, what are you talking about? Narcan's been universal for forever, but that's not there was a lot of resistance to police and first responders carrying Narcan when it first became, at least starting to become acceptable to do so. But we went around. I know you were a big supporter, Fred, Diane Rosati, Bucks County Drug and Alcohol. We took our act on the road, and we made sure that every police department, every agency would carry Narcan. Another great example is we provided free gun locks to anybody that wanted one to prevent those accidental deaths when the little kids would get a hold of a gun that's in a on a nightstand and shoot themselves by accident. Sadly, I prosecuted 2 of those cases as DA that were 100% preventable. So free gun locks. A third one is, and I believe, although I'm not sure, I don't think it's wishful thinking, that we are still #1 in the state in medication take back. And that is just fantastic, because these are medicines and drugs and even needles used to inject not illegal drugs, but legal drugs that can never be diverted to hurt or kill or be abused by anyone ever again. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of, because that's the people of Bucks County asking, what can we do? And taking the information that I would say, this is how you can help, and being the best in the state at it. So I know I've digressed a little bit, but
No,
those are the kind of things that I miss about being the DA. But I have a very gratifying, very fulfilling job as a judge. I am one of 15. I'm the low man, even though I'm last among equals. I'm the most recently elected judge. So currently I sit in family court, and I've been here just shy of 2 years in family court. It's been a real eye-opening experience, very gratifying.
yeah, and I know, you're affecting, and positively, people's lives every day, which is so important. Just to go back to the drug take back, it's not that we have the biggest drug problems, but we have the people out there pushing and being vocal about the issue, where you're not finding that in other, even in the city of Philadelphia, we beat them because you and District Attorney Shorn now really promote that amongst the 39 police departments, plus the ancillary departments like myself and county detectives and the park rangers and probation parole, everybody else that's really pushed out there. And you have 100% buy-in, because that's what you have created in that office. And District Attorney Shorn is expanding on all that work. And I think that's very, important for the people to understand that this just doesn't happen by accident. It's because, and I think that Jen Shorn is the same way. She wakes up in the morning and like, what can I do today? And I feel that way when I left Ben Salem, with Bill McVeigh. That's why I was so comfortable that it was time to go for me for reasons, but I knew it was going to be left in great hands, and Bill was going to take it to the next level where it needed to go. And he's doing that. So I couldn't be any more prouder. I know I can't speak for you, but I think you feel the same way with the DA's office. But we did so many things, use of force policies. I probably stay away from some of this stuff, but a lot of policies and stuff that, we're a Commonwealth. So really everybody can do their own thing in the Commonwealth. But because, under your leadership and continuing today, we work together as a team, and we try to get the 39 departments and everybody else working together in one direction, and not everybody going off their own way. And I don't think that people understand that. I don't think they understand that's the way it works, only because they just don't know. And a lot of it is to your credit and Jen's credit. So being in law enforcement for 39 years, and it certainly was better for me as you in the district attorney's office, and now as a judge. because I know the job you're doing. I mean, you're on the bench. Last night you were here late. I know I saw you. Not that I was creeping or anything. I saw you on the camera, from our command center. But you had court. You were going late yesterday afternoon, and you're that kind of judge. So the people should be very proud that you're on the bench. Judge, as we're coming up to, I know it's we got some business here in the courthouse. I know you probably have to get to the bench, but we're at our half hour mark. Judge, I know you're gonna find this hard to believe, but I'm gonna leave you with the last thoughts, Your Honor.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I think it's pretty obvious, but if it's not, I'll say it. Actually, I love Bucks County. I'm proud to have been a public servant for the majority of the time here in Bucks County, serving the people. And I can't believe this number is this large, but for 35 years, on and off. And it's been the privilege of my life. I'm glad that I get to keep doing it. Every person that comes in front of me as a judge, I know that this is a very stressful day for them as a litigant. I know they've waited a long time to have their day in court. So I try to demonstrate a lot of patience and grace and give them everything I have every day, because they deserve it. They pay my salary. I'm still a public servant. And so I want people, even if they don't win the case, I want them to feel like they had a fair shake. And I know that the public defenders, that the attorneys, that the district attorneys that are in front of me, that they behave in the same way. People should be really, really proud of the legal structure that we have here in Bucks County. We have, as you pointed out, Sheriff, we have judges that are working hard every day to fulfill that mission. And if I could say what I used to always say when I would end one of these videos on my own when I was the DA, I would say, this is now Judge Matt Weintraub. In this instance, I'll say, go Birds and be safe.
Thank you, Judge. Episode 14, Law and Order Bucks. Thanks for coming on. And as the judge leaves, all rise. Thank you for joining us as we explore another aspect of law enforcement in Bucks County. To stay up to date on future episodes and gain further insight into the work we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about the Bucks County Sheriff's Office and the services we provide, please visit our website and be sure to download the official Bucks County Sheriff's Office app, available on Google Play and in the App Store. Join us next time for another in-depth look at law and order right here in Bucks County.